Honorable members, we have to prepare for all eventualities. We have the following distinguished dignitaries with us. Definitely, after welcoming His Excellency the President, he is not here alone. We have the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra. And we have a number of our Lordship, the Justices of the Superior Court of Judicature with us here. We also have the Chairman of the Council of State, honorable members, order. Honorable members, please, we are recognizing those present. Honorable members, we also have the former First Lady, the evergreen, ever-present, Her Excellency Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. We have with us the National Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. Johnson Asedu Nketia. We also have the National Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Stephen Ayensu Nkim. We have the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. Phoebe Viavi Kwete. And we have the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Justin Frimpong Kodia. We have, as usual, our Excellencies, the diplomatic corps of the various countries in Ghana. You can see, as usual, they have come in their numbers. We are extremely grateful for your presence. And we have the couples, the heads of the various security services with us. And we have our revered chiefs, queens, and queen mothers with us here. And the various heads of all the religious bodies we have in this country. We also have the former clerk to Parliament, Mr. Emmanuel Anyimedu, and the recently outgone former clerk to Parliament, Mr. Cyril Kwabena Oteng Insia. Honorable members, in the meantime, this is the list of the dignitaries that I have who are present here with us. May I now, on your behalf, and with the greatest pleasure, invite His Excellency the President to deliver his message. Your Excellency, you may do so now.
Thank you very much, the Right Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency the Vice President, Your Excellency the spouse of the President, Your Ladyship the Chief Justice, our Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Members of the Judiciary, distinguished leaders of our security services, Your Excellencies Members of the Diplomatic Corps, our revered Nime Name, Chiefs, Traditional Rulers, Role Bamboy constituency. For 12 memorable years, I forged many enduring friendships and alliances while working with colleagues from both sides of the House to shape Ghana's legislative agenda and advance the development of our beloved country, Ghana. It has also been nearly a decade since I said goodbye to this House after delivering what many, including myself, thought at the time would be my final address to Parliament. God Almighty, Providence, and the unpredictability of life have summoned me here once again. On the back of a historic electoral mandate from the people of Ghana to deliver a message on the state of the nation. That mandate came with an unprecedented majority in Parliament. And here I am once again to deliver a message on the state of the nation. Mr. Speaker, I wish to convey my heartfelt gratitude to Parliament for the prompt vetting and approval of my nominees for ministerial positions. This efficiency is unmatched in the history of the Fourth Republic, demonstrating the strides we can make when we come together in our dedication to serve the people of our great country. I believe that a similar dispatch will be applied to the approval process for my deputy ministerial nominees. This will enable them to promptly assume office and assist their ministers in delivering our noble vision of resetting our dear nation. In making the nominations and considering the numbers involved, I consider the long expressed sentiment of the Ghanaian people about the sheer size of previous administrations and their associated cost implications. I trust that this significant reduction to 60 ministers and deputy ministers, including regional ministers, will set the stage for further reductions in the size of future governments. With the inauguration of the Council of State, we can begin appointing the staff of the presidency. I intend to significantly reduce the number of staff compared to what existed under previous administrations. All this is aimed at leading by example in cutting down government expenditure and reducing the budget deficit. Let me begin, Mr. Speaker, by invoking the timeless words of the hymnist John Oatman Jr., who encouraged truth and humility. This was preceded a month earlier by a watershed election that promised to revive our nation's fortunes and give us a new lease of life. The election result gave us an important opportunity to change course and move off the slippery slopes our country had been descending that had caused so much economic pain, suffering, and grief to our people. In their collective wisdom and with resounding clarity, the Ghanaian people chose to chart a new path to reset the country's economy. And through their votes, they made it clear that they will henceforth demand the highest standards of governance from those they put in positions of leadership. The good people of Ghana elected me to office with a historic electoral margin of nearly 1.7 million votes. separating me from my next opponent, giving Ghanaians the first female vice president, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. For the National Democratic Congress, NDC, that resounding victory is a selfless call to duty from a people who are tired of years of people are suffering unprecedented hardships. Mr. Speaker, we will host a national economic dialogue on March 3rd and 4th. On March 11th, the Minister of Finance, on my behalf, will present the budget estimates for the financial year 2025 to this August House. These two events will allow us to present the real state of Ghana's economic crisis to the people. Mr. Speaker, it is not my style to lament and shift blame when confronted with challenges. Mr. Speaker, it's not my style to lament and shift blame when confronted with challenges. My approach is to accept challenges and work hard to resolve them. Indeed, this is precisely what the people of Ghana elected me to do. I have therefore not come here to lament on the state of our country, though there's much to lament about. I understand why I was elected with such high voter confidence, and that is to solve Ghana's problems. With your permission, Mr. Speaker, and within the constraints of time, I'll take the liberty to elaborate on how we intend to address the numerous challenges facing us as a nation. Yesterday, February 26, 2025, marks exactly 10 years since I stood in this chamber, at this very spot, to declare my determination to fix Dumso, a legacy problem of power shortages. And Mr. Speaker, I fixed it. Yes, I promised to fix it, and I did. And I wish to place firmly on record that from January 2016 until I handed over the administration of this country on January 7, 2017, there was no power rationing or load management in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, today, inspired by the Almighty God and propelled by the massive mandate given to me by the good people of Ghana, I am moved to make a similar purposeful and bold declaration that I, John Dramani Mahama, I will fix the economic crisis confronting our country and reset it on a path of growth and prosperity. That I will fix the economic crisis confronting our country and reset it on a path of growth and prosperity. My government, working with you and every Ghanaian, will solve the challenges because we have developed the plan with our people's support. When I decided to run for president again, I did so because of what I knew about the state of our country. I was aware that huge problems awaited me upon assumption of office, but nothing could prepare anyone for the reality of the depths to which our economy and our governance had sunk. Our elders say that a frog's true length can be ascertained only after it has died. And how right they were. It is common knowledge that our economy is in dire straits, which is putting it mildly, because an initial assessment of the books we have discovered, after initial assessment of the books, we have discovered that our economic problems are much deeper than was previously known. We have inherited a country that is broken on many fronts. The profundities of the challenges confronting us are staggering. We are saddled with staggering debts and glaring signs of almost deliberate and, in some cases, reckless mismanagement of our resources. Mr. Speaker, not even the restraints of an IMF program were enough for the previous economic managers to exercise prudence in managing our finances. After setting an inflation target of 18% by the end of 2024, the actual outturn was 23.8%, significantly higher than the threshold agreed with the IMF. The Ghana cedi continued its downward slide, losing 19% of its value against the dollar in 2024. It had already in the previous year lost 27.8% of its value. In addition to the public debt, which amounts to a staggering 721 billion cedis, several state-owned enterprises are also in debt, including the ECG, which owes 68 billion Ghana cedis. Ghana Cocoa Board, the hope of cocoa farmers, is also highly indebted. Its balance sheet indicates a total debt of 32.5 billion Ghana cedis, of which 9.7 billion is due to be paid at the end of September 2025. In 2023-2024 crop season, Cocoa Board was unable to supply 333,767 metric tons of cocoa, which it had sold at $2,600 per ton. As a result, the then management of Cocoa Board rolled over these contracts into the 2024-2025 season. Honorable members, Mr. Speaker, this implies that for every ton of cocoa delivered this year, in fulfillment of the rollover contracts, Cocoa Board and Ghanaian farmers are going to lose $4,000 in revenue. Mr. Speaker, as I address this honorable House, Cocoa Board has supplied 210,000 tons out of the rolled over contract, resulting in a revenue loss of $840 million for both Cocoa Board and the Ghanaian farmer. Mr. Speaker, Cocoa Board and the Ghanaian farmer will lose another $495 million by the time the board finishes supplying the remaining rolled over contracts. Additionally, cocoa road commitments alone total 21.7 billion cedis, of which only 4.4 billion is included in the total debt of 32.5 billion. This debt has arisen mainly because of the decision in 2019 and 2020 to award road contracts worth over $1 billion because of the election. Mr. Speaker, the energy sector faces significant financial challenges, primarily due to collection and system losses, non-compliance with the cash waterfall mechanism, and legacy debts. The financing shortfall has risen considerably to approximately $2.2 billion, or 34 billion Ghana cedis for 2025. And urgent measures will be needed to reduce it to sustainable levels and ultimately eliminate it. The financial sector continues to struggle despite the reportedly spending of 29.9 billion on the financial sector cleanup exercise up to date. Scant reserves were also left for debt servicing, despite implementing what may be considered the most severe and distressing economic policy in the annals of the Fourth Republic, if not in the entirety of our nation's history. And I'm referring to the domestic debt exchange program. This is in stark contrast to our actions in 2017 before we left office, when we allocated $250 million to the sinking fund handed over to the incoming government to service debts, Ghana's debts. There have been claims that buffers were left for debt repayments, oncoming debt repayment this year. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me give you the statement of account for the debt service reserve account, which is also popularly referred to as the sinking fund. This fund shows a balance of only $64,000 in the dollar account, $64,000 in the dollar account, and 143 million Ghana cedis in the CD account. The repercussions of the accumulation of debt and economic mismanagement will require extensive work and sacrifice to repair. In the next 4 years, to put things in context for you, Mr. Speaker, in the next 4 years, our debt servicing will amount to 280 billion cedis. And this comprises of 150 billion for domestic debt and 130 billion in external debt servicing. Our catastrophic debt position has also severely impacted infrastructural projects that should have been completed. Currently, there are 55 stalled projects due to the default of debt and subsequent restructuring, with a total value of $2.95 billion not disbursed. The stalling of these projects is expected to result in a cost overrun of about 15 billion cedis. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding this gloomy background, I remain committed to leading this government and taking every necessary step to reset our economy, getting things back on track, and working with the good people of our country to build the Ghana we want. Mr. Speaker, we are doubling our efforts to complete all outstanding structural reforms. Through the budget, we will implement corrective measures to restore fiscal discipline and debt sustainability. We're also working hard towards completing the upcoming 4th review of the IMF-supported program. The review is scheduled from April 2nd to April 15, 2025, and the IMF Executive Board is expected to approve it in June of this year. As we have done previously, we're also building buffers in the sinking fund and adopting prudent debt management practices to ensure prompt repayment of upcoming domestic and external debt maturities. In this respect, government successfully honored the matured coupon payment of $6.081 billion in cash and $3.46 billion in kind, which was due in February 2025 to all domestic debt exchange program bondholders, fully paid. Mr. Speaker, the good news is that we have also built additional buffers in the sinking fund to honor the maturing bonds that are due in July and August. And so bondholders can rest assured that they will be paid to the last peso whatever is owed them. With the transparent and prudent measures we have implemented since taking over the administration of this country, I urge my countrymen and women, business owners, and foreign investors to trust our competence in turning our economic fortunes around. Mr. Speaker, since we took office on January, and the Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee concluded negotiations on the 2025 minimum wage and base pay for the single spine salary structure, respectively. I want to use this opportunity to reiterate my sincere gratitude to organized labor and the Ghana Employers Association for the understanding and cooperation in reaching this agreement on the minimum wage and the base pay. On the final day of negotiations, I enjoyed the privilege of joining my comrades, the leaders of organized labor, for the concluding discussions. I'm confident that the sacrifice we have all made this year will significantly benefit our economy's health in the future. We look forward to a positive economic outlook as we restore macroeconomic stability, we encourage exports, we activate the 24-hour economy policy, we implement the $10 billion Big Push policy for swift infrastructure development, we rationalize taxes and foster inclusive growth. The goal is prosperity for all, which must be shared and not the prerogative of a select few. Mr. Speaker, in fulfillment of producers and fuel suppliers threatening to cease their operations. Mr. Speaker, listen to this. Despite collecting over 45 billion cedis in energy sector levies, ESLA, over the last 8 years, the outgone administration has left the Ghanaian people with an energy sector burdened with a staggering debt of 70 billion cedis as of December 2024. It is of deep concern that several state-owned enterprises in the energy sector are struggling to stay afloat, and unless urgent interventions are made, many of them will go under. Financial distress in the energy sector remains a significant obstacle to delivering consistent and affordable electricity to Ghanaians, and it poses an existential threat to our economy in general. Compounding these challenges, critical maintenance activities such as the scheduled pigging of the West African gas pipeline WAPCO were postponed from 2024 to 2025 without sufficient contingency measures for alternative fuel supply. As a result, my administration has had to swiftly mobilize resources to secure emergency fuel supplies to ensure that electricity generation continues despite the closure of the West African gas pipeline. I've been informed that the pigging exercise will be completed in the first week of March, and once again additional gas will flow from Nigeria. We are anticipating a marked improvement in the power situation once this begins. While the current state of our energy sector poses grave concerns, we must remain resolute in our commitment to restoring stability. I've directed the Minister for Energy and Green Transitions to implement far-reaching reforms, including enforcing a single revenue collection account, strictly adhering to the cash waterfall mechanism, and eliminating all wasteful expenditures by the state utility. Mr. Minister, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, following my directive, Mr. Speaker, following my directive, the Minister has set up an advisory committee to guide the party's 9% revenue collection and nearly 100% uptime in power supply. This is being done here in Ghana. We can use it to cover the rest of the nation to ensure that we get revenue compliance and be able to bring down tariffs for our people. Mr. Speaker, I'm still getting used to being president, that's why I said Mr. President. Mr. Speaker, reduction in commercial and technical losses will lead to affordable tariffs for everyone and will bring relief to all users of electric power. We also aim in the medium term to achieve 100% gas utilization for power production and to eliminate completely the use of crude oil and fossil fuels. This will save Ghana hundreds of millions of dollars spent on the importation of fuel oils for power production annually. With regards to renewable energy, this administration will soon operationalize a renewable energy and green transition fund to enhance efficiency and accelerate Ghana's transition to renewable energy. This initiative will drive investments in sustainable energy solutions, including solar street lights, rooftop solar installation, installing all upstream activities. The decline in upstream activity is obvious to any person familiar with the twin cities of Sekondi and Takoradi. Just under a decade ago, these cities were the bustling epicenter of fabrication, logistics, service activity associated with the upstream oil and gas sector. Unfortunately, my recent visit reveals many shut down facilities and many businesses have packed and left the shores of our country. Hundreds of workers have been laid off and left unemployed. I wish to assure the good people of Sekondi Takoradi and indeed the whole Western region that we are going to breathe life back into your area. Mr. Speaker, we have already commenced revitalization of our upstream petroleum sector by creating a business-friendly and congenial environment for our partners and other prospective investors who wish to come in. My meeting with the players in the upstream sector have been extremely positive, and we have been assured of substantial investments running into billions of dollars in the very near future. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Energy and Green Transitions gave the directive for the removal of the unitization based on the arbitration that took place. We believe that this will open the way for an amicable resolution of the issues between Springfield and ENI, and this should make our oil and gas prospects more attractive to investments going forward. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has fertile lands, abundant water, and human resources. Yet we face a paradox. Our food import bill continues to soar, reaching alarming levels of over $2 billion annually. In addition, rising food inflation is burdening households and threatening livelihoods. To address this, we're implementing several well-considered policies to grow the agricultural sector, including agro-processing. This will be backed by reliable power supply to meet our country's needs while advancing exports to earn foreign exchange and strengthen our economy. Mr. Speaker, the Agriculture for Economic Transformation Agenda, AETA for short, will modernize agriculture, enhance agribusiness, ensure food security, it will lower food inflation, it will boost exports, and create sustainable jobs. The Feed Ghana program will increase food production and reduce prices through projects like the Grain Development Project, focusing on rice, maize, and soya bean production. The Vegetable Development Project will target crops such as tomatoes, onions, and pepper. Our Poultry Farm to Table project will eliminate poultry imports and increase local production. Ghana imports 95% of its poultry needs, which costs over $300 million annually. To reverse this trend, government plans to revamp the poultry sector by investing in hatcheries, feed mills, processing, and distribution, working towards eliminating poultry imports. And this is a good one. The Nkukon Kitinkiti project. We actually have a project called Nkukon Kitinkiti. The Nkukon Kitinkiti project will cover 55,000 households producing eggs and fresh poultry for the market, and it will help reduce our $300 million we spend on importing chicken annually. Mr. Speaker, to strengthen the connection between agriculture and industry, we will prioritize value addition, processing, and distribution, and this will position agriculture as profitable and appealing, making it more attractive to our young people. We will implement an Agri-Next program to facilitate access to land banks by young farmers, to connect graduates with opportunities in the agricultural value chain, and promote greenhouse agriculture among the youth. This initiative will benefit approximately 30,000 young people. Mr. Speaker, the Livestock Development Project will also address Ghana's reliance on imported meats by restocking breeding farms and increasing local livestock production, thereby creating jobs and boosting self-sufficiency. For years, access to mechanization, quality seeds, fertilizer, and extension services has been a major challenge to our farmers. To address this, government will establish our flagship farmer service centers in every agricultural district, ensuring that farmers receive essential mechanization services and resources to improve their productivity and efficiency. Mr. Speaker, also in the fisheries sector, we implement strategic interventions to enhance productivity and sustainability. Key among these initiatives is the continued enforcement of measures to curb illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, which threaten our marine biodiversity and the livelihoods of our hard-working fisher folk. We have intensified surveillance and monitoring operations, bolstered by the deployment of modern technology and strengthened collaboration with our key stakeholders. In the last month, we have expanded the supply of subsidized premixed fuel to support artisanal and industrial fishers, ensuring affordability and availability. We will also invest further in modern fish landing sites and cold storage facilities to improve post-harvest handling and thereby reduce losses and enhance the quality of our fish products. Aquaculture development is a key focus of our administration. We will provide financial and technical support, especially to young fish farmers, increasing fish production and reducing our dependence on fish imports. To increase the value addition in this sector, we will encourage the establishment of fish processing facilities, create more jobs and boost exports. Our commitment to supporting women in the fishery sector remains steadfast as we implement the programs to empower female fish processors and traders with financial capital and capacity building initiatives. While we work hard to fix the economy and provide jobs in all sectors, including agribusiness, one of the biggest crises we face in this country is youth unemployment. Youth unemployment has led to despair and frustration. The latest estimates show that up to 2 million of our young people are unemployed. This poses a major security risk for our country and requires urgent attention. To bring much needed focus to the desperate and widely scattered youth employment programs and to ensure stricter accountability in their implementation, I have set up the Ministry for Youth Development and Empowerment in furtherance to the promise I made in the campaign. This ministry, that is the Ministry for Youth Development and Empowerment, is mandated to formulate, coordinate, and monitor policies and programs to promote youth development and empowerment in this country. Mr. Speaker, as part of our Operation Recover All the Loot policy, Mr. Speaker, as part of our Operation Recover All the Loot policy, ORA, I've already tasked our investigative bodies to bring the culprits of the National Service Ghost Name scandal to justice. Such brazen theft of public funds must not go unpunished. It is estimated that the criminal addition of some more than 80,000 ghost names could have yielded the suspects over 50 million Ghana cedis every month. Unfortunately, some of these suspects are believed to have absconded from the country already. I have directed that they be declared wanted and their assets traced and frozen until investigations are completed. To achieve a legally robust regime to govern national service, I've also tasked the Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment to
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe. Yum.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Choco Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Choco Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Brush, 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 brush your teeth. Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush with Kel-Kit.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel-Kit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel-Kit. Happy smile.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Trying to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale.
Incredible!
If you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV. There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Matching furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just a breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
A table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time.
Also committed to revitalizing the Accra Marine Drive project a significant urban redevelopment initiative which was designed to transform approximately 241 acres of Accra's coastline into a vibrant tourism and economic hub. Although the cabinet approval for this vital project was achieved during my presidency in 2016, progress has stalled. We will reassess the work completed and take decisive action to bring this all-important project back on track. We will develop the Osu Castle, the former seat of government, around it as a tourist attraction. It will have a pedestrian precinct with arts and craft markets, jewelry and gold markets. This approximate 22-acre land will become a destination for tourism. Mr. Speaker, our road network is the cornerstone of our nation's infrastructure, facilitating over 90% of the transportation of goods and services across this country. This vital network is critical in supporting agricultural growth by linking farmers to markets, lowering transportation costs, and ensuring quicker access to essential supplies and services. Leading the public It has perpetuated a narrative that presents road maintenance and rehabilitation efforts as new construction projects, misleading the public about what has been achieved. The proportion of poor roads has increased, especially in urban centers, where the number of roads in disrepair surged from 46% in 2015 to almost 60% by 2021. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, our road sector is in crisis, mainly due to years of mismanagement. As many as 85% of awarded contracts in the road sector have stalled, and the contractors have stopped work due to non-payment, and most of them have packed their equipment off-site. Mr. Speaker, as of December 2024, unpaid bills owed to contractors in the sector exceeded 20 billion Ghana cedis for work that had been carried out between 2018 and 2024. For instance, the Ghana Road Fund obtained a loan of 600 million payments, including some as low as 2,000 Ghana cedis, dating back to 2018. Current commitments for road projects that are unpaid currently stand at an astonishing 105 billion Ghana cedis. Despite these considerable challenges, this government remains steadfast in its commitment to prioritize vital infrastructure projects that address the pressing backlog of poor roads. Our strategy will be anchored in executing our flagship initiative under the Big Push program. The Big Push will see major rehabilitation of many key roads in the feeder roads, urban roads, and highway sectors. We'll also undertake the following key initiatives to revitalize the road sector. We'll reintroduce tolls, road tolls, using modern technology. We'll rationalize the road sector portfolio to focus on high-impact initiatives. Mr. Speaker, we will uncap the road fund in order that it can accumulate more money to pay for road maintenance. Mr. Speaker, we'll minimize sole source procurement to encourage competition, competitive bidding, and enhance public transparency in the procurement processes. Mr. Speaker, the drip equipment, which was acquired at the last moment as a knee-jerk reaction for electioneering purposes, reorganized into regional mobile maintenance units to provide emergency road works in the regions. Mr. Speaker, I've realigned the Ministry of Transport to oversee 4 modes of transportation: aviation, maritime, inland water transport, road transport, and railways. The government will commission a feasibility study to develop coastal water transport services. This initiative aims to promote alternative modes of transport and ensure their integration into our existing systems under the National Transport Policy. It also aims to enhance tourism, reduce road traffic, and mitigate environmental pollution. Motorcycles and tricycles, commonly known as Okada, hold significant potential as a more convenient, timely, safe, and cost-effective mode of transport. Currently, the Road Traffic Regulation of 2012, LI 2180, prohibits licensing motorcycles and tricycles for fare-paying passengers. As part of our government policy, the Ministry will amend the regulatory framework to regularize the use of motorcycles and tricycles for commercial passenger transport. In our ongoing effort to revitalize the whole airport, the establishment of the state-of-the-art pilot training academy and a maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility. The Volta region will become a center of excellence for aviation training and aircraft maintenance. This project will create significant employment opportunities. It will stimulate economic growth and bolster tourism in Ho and the surrounding communities. I have directed the airport company to release 10 acres of land at the Ho airport for this purpose. Mr. Speaker, with the completion of the Tema-Mpakadan rail line, the government will launch passenger services between Tema and Adome. We will also begin developing the necessary infrastructure on the Volta Lake to facilitate freight transport between Tema Port and Bupe as part of the corridor multimodal transport system. The Western Railway line will continue to be modernized in partnership with the private sector. This initiative aims to support the efficient transport of bulk cargo and minerals from the mines in Nsuta, Awaso, and Yinehin to the Takrady port, while providing passenger transport along the Western Corridor. Mr. Speaker, the administration to re-establish a national airline has failed. We will reopen a transparent process that will receive expressions of interest to invite competent established partners to work with us to establish a national airline. We believe that an efficient national carrier can help reduce fares on routes where external carriers to work with us to establish a national airline. We believe that an efficient national carrier can help reduce fares on routes where external carriers are currently enjoying a monopoly. Mr. Speaker, our communications and digital technology initiatives focus on expanding our national digital infrastructure to stimulate innovation and enhance public service delivery. We're also dedicated to improving access to information and communication technology, promoting the digital economy, ensuring inclusive and equitable growth across all sectors. Nevertheless, the sector faces several significant challenges that hinder our progress, and these include insufficient infrastructure for delivering weather and climate services across all time zones, fragmented and uncoordinated databases, outdated legislation and policies that do not keep pace with a rapidly evolving sector, a lack of adequate technology to effectively detect, prevent, and respond to cybersecurity threats, and a daunting debt burden of almost 2 billion cedis. To revitalize this sector, government is committed to reviewing existing laws and policies to better align them with emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data, Internet of Things, and machine learning. Additionally, we will develop and expedite the enactment of the Kofi Annan Center of Excellence Bill. This legislation will establish the necessary framework for the center to concentrate on research and development, consultancy services, and capacity building. Mr. Speaker, access to safe and reliable water and affordable housing significantly enhances the well-being and quality of life of our people. These elements are integral to our reset agenda and fundamental to our vision to build the Ghana that we all want. However, the water sector in Ghana faces considerable challenges, including illegal mining activities that contaminate fresh water sources, rendering them unsafe for drinking and agriculture. This alarming situation highlights the critical need for a decisive and ongoing effort to combat illegal mining, to save our environment and our public health. Government will prioritize completing new and ongoing water projects to improve access to safe drinking water. This commitment should be good news for the people in the Keta, Adaklu, Wenchi, Sekendi Takrade, Asankragwa, Sehiyuoso, Dodoaso, Kweman, Damfa, Goso, Dwabeng, Aveime, and Edubamso. We'll also tackle critical water projects in Damango, Tamale, Yendi, Sunyani, Techiman, and Takwa to ensure broader access to potable water nationwide. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has a coastline that stretches approximately 550 kilometers. 2/3 of this coastline is threatened by tidal wave erosion, which impacts nearly 30% of Ghana's population. Rising sea levels have exacerbated vulnerabilities in coastal areas, leading to flooding, habitat loss, and community displacement. Consequently, coastal protection has emerged as a critical national priority. And so for the communities that are threatened by flood currently, we're going to prioritize building sea defense to be able to protect you. Flooding has become an all too frequent occurrence in many urban centers across the county, resulting in tragic loss of life, livelihood, and property. This scenario underscores the urgent need for sustainable solutions to address these pressing challenges. Many of our drainage systems are inadequate. They are worsened by careless waterway construction and obstruction, and the relentless encroachment on wetlands and floodplains. To tackle these issues, we have to explore alternative sources of funding to support essential drainage works, desilting, flood control, and coastal protection. Mr. Speaker, the quality of life of any nation relies significantly on a well-regulated and efficient housing market that guarantees access to decent homes. Our housing deficit is estimated at over 1.2 million units, and this has been the situation for many decades. High costs associated with land acquisition, construction material, and access to financing have made home ownership unattainable for many, primarily affecting vulnerable populations and contributing to the rise of slums. This government is steadfast in its commitment to complete all ongoing housing initiatives, beginning with the Saglemi Affordable Housing Project. We'll also implement a low-cost social housing project supported by a district housing scheme. This project aims to remove the financial barriers to home ownership. Workers in the formal sector, public or private, who have about 15 to 20 years before retirement, can purchase and own a house in cedis and have the cost deducted monthly from their salaries until the house is fully paid up. Mr. Speaker, illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey, has inflicted tremendous harm on our forests, leading to significant land degradation and pollution of vital water sources. This reckless activity threatens Ghana's environment and public health. Mr. Speaker, I'm sad to report that presently 44 of the country's 288 forest reserves have been impacted. An area that is alarmingly equivalent to approximately 8,000 football fields has been completely destroyed. Mr. Speaker, the pollution levels in major rivers within the southwestern basin are critically high, with turbidity levels far exceeding possible units. To combat this urgent crisis, we are implementing a proactive approach that includes robust and impartial law enforcement, meaningful stakeholder engagement, and the creation of alternative livelihoods for our citizens involved in galamsey. We are expanding the Minerals Commission regional offices to strengthen their regulatory oversight. We will establish a framework that categorizes mining activities into small, medium, and large scale, each with its tailored regulations. Mr. Speaker, we will establish a gold board, and we're in the process of doing it. Legislation will come to this House shortly. This gold board will ensure effective governance of the gold industry. At the same time, we wish to take advantage of Ghana's salt production capacity to place it as a central export commodity under the African Continental Free Trade Area. We will also seize opportunities presented by the global shift towards net zero emissions to craft policies related to critical minerals such as lithium. The anticipated development of the integrated aluminium and iron industry will significantly increase the value of Ghana's natural resources. In our commitment to restoring degraded forests, we will launch the Tree for Life restoration policy and the Blue Water Initiative, which will transform mined-out areas into ecological recovery zones. This ambitious afforestation program aims to establish more than 50,000 hectares of new plantations and undertake 5,000 hectares of enrichment planting annually. We'll also implement public sensitization campaigns to foster sustainable forest management practices and uphold the Wildlife Resource Management Act. We're going to involve school children and the general public in tree planting and tree growing. Mr. Speaker, comprehensive reforms will be introduced to enhance transparency and efficiency while ensuring tenure of security in land administration. Climate change remains a pressing concern for Ghana and the global community. To meet our climate mitigation targets, Ghana has allocated 24 million metric tons of its carbon budget, totaling 64 million metric tons of carbon for authorization under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. We have successfully authorized 3 projects which are poised to reduce 5.2 million tons of our carbon emissions. In line with our manifesto, we are committed to strengthening institutional and human capacity through necessary adaptation and mitigation measures to bolster resilience in critical sectors such as agriculture, forestry, energy, and water resources. We also pledge to align our national policies with international efforts to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade by 2050 and promote a fair and just transition to renewable energy sources. Mr. Speaker, we stand on the cusp of making history, the history of a country that prioritizes transparency and accountability as key elements of governance. During my campaign for president, I pledged, as captured by the NDC's 2024 manifesto, to take a strong stance against corruption. Mr. Speaker, we must end state capture. Mr. Speaker, we must end the purchase of state and public assets, such as land and other immovable assets, by members of the political class. Mr. Speaker, I pledge to fight corruption head-on by implementing Operation Recover All the Loot, oral. In that regard, Mr. Speaker, one of the first committees I established, even before my investiture as president, was to establish the oral committee on the sidelines of our transition. It is instructive to announce that the committee has a comprehensive response based on the oral committee's findings. Mr. Speaker, let me state that my commitment to fighting corruption will continue with the establishment of a unit at the presidency and the maintenance of the hotline where complaints and reports regarding graft and corruption will continue to be received and transferred to the Office of the Attorney General. Mr. Speaker, we will shortly submit for consideration a bill to regulate and restrict the sale of disposal of public lands and state assets. Mr. Speaker, as soon as the 2025 budget is approved, government will immediately take steps to reform the existing anti-corruption agencies by increasing funding and improving transparency and accountability. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians voted largely and overwhelmingly and endorsed the NDC because we demonstrated a strong commitment and abhorrence for corruption. We pledged to fight corruption and implement far-reaching reforms that will eventually achieve a sustainable zero-tolerance policy against corruption. Mr. Speaker, The justice and legal sectors play closely with the Chief Justice to combat corruption effectively. Mr. Speaker, in line with our manifesto promise to reform and expand legal education, we have developed a legal education reform bill ready to be presented to Cabinet for approval and laying before this August House Parliament. Mr. Speaker, on January 30th, 2025, I inaugurated the Constitution Review Committee to undertake a comprehensive review of our fundamental law and ensure that it reflects the hopes and aspirations of our citizens. The committee is composed of distinguished scholars, jurists, and professionals who have made significant contributions to our nation in both the public and private sectors. They will engage Ghanaians and consult with the relevant stakeholders and experts over the next 6 months. Their findings will ultimately be presented to the public for approval, followed by submission to Parliament for enactment into law, and referendums will be held where necessary. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to report that Ghana's internal security remains stable despite developments primarily rooted in chieftaincy disputes. We firmly believe that even amidst conflict, it is essential for our citizens to coexist peacefully and seek amicable resolution to these disputes. We will initiate comprehensive reform across all security agencies to strengthen our national safety and security. One area that has garnered significant public scrutiny is the recruitment process within our security forces. Accusations of politicization, favoritism, protocol, and selectivity have been prevalent. Let me assure you that we are committed to changing that narrative and fostering a more transparent and equitable recruitment policy so that all our young people who wish to serve in these services have an opportunity to do so. We are dedicated to enhancing the capabilities of the Ghana Police Service, the Prison Service, the Ghana National Fire Service, the Immigration Service, and the Narcotics Control Commission, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, and all investigative bodies operating under the Ministry of Interior. By motivating and re-equipping these agencies, we aim to effectively maintain internal peace and security. Mr. Speaker, I want to reaffirm this government's unwavering commitment to prioritizing the welfare and well-being of our brave men and women in uniform who sacrifice daily to uphold law and order and secure our nation's peace. We will invest in adequate equipment and suitable accommodation for our security personnel. As Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I want to emphasize our determination to strengthen our democracies. This is particularly true given the troubled proliferation of military-grade weapons that have fallen into unauthorized hands. These weapons pose a significant threat to our national security and our constitutional democracy. They endanger the safety of all Ghanaians and potentially exacerbate existing conflicts such as chieftaincy disputes and in many cases fall into the hands of armed robbers. Since taking office, we have pursued a responsible approach to account for these unregistered weapons while maintaining stability within the security apparatus. I'm pleased to report that we've made substantial progress and are committed to ensuring that those responsible for this situation are brought to book. In our efforts to safeguard our citizens, Mr. Speaker, to safeguard our territory, to maintain our democracy, we remain vigilant against the threat of violent extremism and terrorism. Therefore, we are resolute in enhancing our defense mechanisms